In the news tonight, the Prime Minister delivers a speech on behalf of His Majesty the King in the 27th Arab Summit in Nouakchott. The UN envoy for Syria will hold talks with the top US and Russian officials in Geneva in a bid to revive flagging peace talks. And Daesh claims responsibility for the suicide bomb attack that has left 1 dead and 15 wounded in southern Germany. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. His Royal Highness Prince Faisal, the Regent, received a chairperson of the National Public Safety Commission, Japan's Minister of Administrative Reform, Taro Kono, for talks on bilateral ties. Prince Faisal said Jordan is keen to boost cooperation with the East Asian nation, which is one of the kingdom's most prominent supporters in various fields in achieving sustainable development. The meeting also touched on regional and global developments, in addition to efforts made to counter terrorism and extremism within a holistic approach to enhance stability and security. The minister said his country is proud of the historic ties with Jordan and voiced Japan's readiness to broaden the scopes of bilateral cooperation. He also commended the vital role Jordan plays in addressing Mideast issues and vowed support for the kingdom in several domains of development ventures. Interior Minister Salami Hamad and member of the House of Representatives of Japan, Taro Kono, held talks on means to activate cooperation in security fields and the latest developments in the region. Hamad reviewed his ministry's work mechanism and tasks carried out through its various directorates across the kingdom. He said Jordan and Japan are bound by close relations in various fields, particularly in the security and policing domains. Talks also touched on combating terrorism, which Hamad said requires concerted international efforts to eliminate it. The Japanese official praised the advanced level of development in Jordan's various domains. He said his country considers Jordan a pillar in security and stability in the region and stressed Japan's continued support to Jordan in various political, economic, policing and security fields. His Majesty the King said history has proven that joint Arab action is essential for the security and stability of our region, as well as the prosperity of our people. In a speech delivered on his behalf by Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki in the 27th Arab Summit in Nouakchott, the King also said it is time for the Arab League and its institutions to start a new era that reflects Arab people's hopes and aspirations. His Majesty said that terrorism does not recognize borders or nationalities. In fact, terrorists seek to distort the true image of Islam and its message of tolerance. The war against terrorism, His Majesty added, is the Arab and Muslim war, stressing the need for international coordination to confront this danger. On the Syrian crisis, which has been ongoing for 6 years, His Majesty said it is important to reach a comprehensive political solution to the crisis, as its continuation would only increase the suffering of its people. The King praised the effort of Saudi Arabia to unify the Syrian opposition and form its negotiating delegation, as well as its effort to bring about a political solution that ends the suffering of the Syrians and ensure the integrity of their lands. The King said the Palestinian issue will remain the main challenge despite the current developments in the region. King Abdullah stressed the keenness to continue his role in preserving and protecting the holy sites in Jerusalem, especially Al-Aqsa Mosque, Al-Haram al-Sharif, by all available means. The King commended the efforts of Kuwait in hosting the Yemeni peace negotiations and affirmed Jordan's full support for the legitimacy in Yemen and for the Arab coalition in its effort to restore security and stability in the country, ensuring its geographic unity. On the sidelines of the summit, the Prime Minister met with the Egyptian counterpart, Sharif Ismail, and discussed ways of promoting cooperation between Jordan and Egypt, especially in the economic sphere. The two prime ministers agreed on an official visit to be carried out in the coming days to Jordan by the Egyptian Ministers of Trade, Industry, Tourism, Transportation and Health and Chairman of the Suez Canal Authority to discuss with their Jordanian counterparts ties and find solution to standing issues between the two parties. Al-Mulki also discussed with his Lebanese counterpart, Tamam Salam, bilateral relations and coordination regarding the follow-up on results of the London conference to support host countries of Syrian refugees. 5 Saudi soldiers from the kingdom's border guards were killed as they tried to stop an infiltration from the Yemeni border in the southern city of Najran. A spokesperson at the Interior Ministry said troops discovered an attempt by armed groups to infiltrate the border from multiple locations, including the Kabash area of Najran, responding by opening fire with the assistance of ground forces. He said that the firefight lasted 8 hours, resulting in the death of 5 border guard personnel. Reports did not mention if the armed groups suffered any casualties. UN Syria envoy Staffan de Mistura will hold talks tomorrow with top US and Russian officials in Geneva in a bid to revive flagging peace talks. The UN envoy has been trying to save a peace process which some feared was facing total collapse. De Mistura voiced hope that he could strike a deal for a new transitional government in Syria by August 1st. While that deadline will certainly not be met, the UN envoy has repeatedly stressed that there is no plan B for Syria aside from the peace process. He urged President Bashar al-Assad's government and opposition leaders to stick with the negotiations. De Mistura's spokeswoman, who confirmed the meeting, gave no details about its agenda. A suicide car bomber killed at least 14 people, including women and children, packed into a minibus at a checkpoint outside a central Iraqi town. A police officer said most of the victims died inside their vehicles while waiting to enter Khal, about 80 kilometers north of Baghdad. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi has come under pressure to improve security since a suicide attack claimed by Daesh earlier this month killed 292 people in central Baghdad. Kurdish militants killed 3 police officers in an attack on their convoy in southeastern Turkey. Explosives placed on a highway in Mardin province were detonated remotely as the convoy was carrying police personnel. The officers were traveling in armored vehicles, and officials said fighters of the PKK were behind the attack. Libyan forces pounded Daesh targets with artillery shells as they edged further into the center of Sirte, seeking to recapture the city from militants. After a lull in fighting last week, the government-backed forces launched a fresh assault on several fronts after first pounding Daesh positions with artillery and airstrikes. Sirte had been controlled by Daesh since last year, becoming its most important base outside Syria and Iraq, and its loss would be a major setback for the group. The Bavarian Interior Minister said the Syrian who blew himself up in southern Germany had pledged allegiance to Daesh on a video found on his mobile phone. He said the danger of attacks in Germany remains high after a spate of 4 attacks over the last week that have left 10 people dead and 34 injured. More in this report.
Police in Ansbach, Germany on Monday searched the scene of a blast after a 27-year-old Syrian refugee exploded a bomb in a backpack the night before. At least 12 people were wounded in the attack. The bomber was killed. Residents in the Bavarian town are surprised and concerned. It's a shame when people go out with their families and this happens, one person said. Of course nobody expected it. It's catastrophic. How could something happen here? Another person asked. Next weekend I wanted to go to a festival in Nuremberg, but now I don't think I will. The bomber lived here at a hotel that had been turned into a shelter for asylum seekers. He'd been denied asylum but wasn't facing deportation because of the ongoing civil war in Syria. The incident, the fourth in a week in Germany, will no doubt call into question Chancellor Angela Merkel's open-door refugee policy, under which more than 1 million migrants have entered the country in the past year.
At least 2 people were killed and more than a dozen other wounded in a shooting outside a Florida nightclub that was hosting a party for all age groups. The shooting in front Mayor took place in the parking lot of Club Blue, where officers found several victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Police said 3 people were detained for questioning and that the area was deemed safe. Investigators had yet to determine a motive and were seeking the identities of the 2 people who were killed. Brit Johanna Konta outdueled Venus Williams in 3 sets to earn her first WTA Tour title at the Bank of the West Classic in Stanford, California. 3rd seed Konta won the first and third sets, defeating top-seeded American Williams 7-5, 5-7, 6-2, while serving 12 aces to just 3 for Venus. After the match, Konta said it wasn't easy. She was playing against an incredible champion and also being her first WTA final. She's very happy how she was able to manage things. FINA, the governing body of world swimming, has ruled that 7 Russian swimmers are ineligible to compete in the Rio Olympics. The International Olympic Committee ruled not to impose a blanket ban on Russian athletes due to the country's doping history, allowing sports federation to decide on individual cases. FINA acknowledged and supports the OIC's position in respect of the participation of clean Russian athletes to the Olympic Games in Rio. And finally, fair conditions in the hilly areas, while relatively hot in most regions with northwesterly moderate winds. A slight rise in temperature is expected tomorrow, therefore it will be relatively hot in the hilly areas, while extremely hot in the Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea. Winds will be northwesterly moderate to brisk. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect high temperatures tomorrow with moderate winds and calm seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. And to end the news, here's a recap of our top stories. The Prime Minister delivers a speech on behalf of His Majesty the King in the 27th Arab Summit in Nouakchott. The UN envoy for Syria will hold talks with top US and Russian officials in Geneva in a bid to revive flagging peace talks. And Daesh claims responsibility for the suicide bomb attack that has left 1 dead and 15 wounded in southern Germany. And with this we come to an end. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.